Let me start. How did you get from a 7-minute short to an hour and 45-minute movie?
That is a very long story.
Was that intentional? Or were you intended? Was this like a proof of
concept?
Yeah.
No, not originally. It was just a short film idea that we were both really keen on. And then off the back of that, after we started talking to agents and stuff, and people were going, "What do you want to do next?" I think we realised that there was a lot of ideas that we kind of left on the floor whilst generating the short film, and just there's a lot more breadth in that world, so we'll go back and explore it.
So it sort of inadvertently became a proof of concept, but we didn't set out initially to make a feature version of it because we just felt at that point we didn't have the means to do that. So we thought keep it contained, and it was sort of just a challenge to ourselves to can we tell a zombie film that can affect people in 7 minutes? It was sort of like a mission statement.
Yeah, but this is an interesting thing, and I had discussions with some people afterwards, and they're going like, but is it really a zombie? Is it really a zombie film? Because you don't know if they're really dead, because it's like it's a disease, and not, it's not. You could say it's just like a disease film. Something that's like the plague or something.
Yeah.
And so as far as that is, and
that's a good point actually, because I don't think we ever show a scene where you get that classic, you can hack a limb off and someone keeps coming at you. So
yeah.
Because it's not, the film is not, and that's one of the things I love about it, is it's not classic. You're not following the Romero rules. You're not, which everybody follows, and I hate, because it's just like, please somebody come up with something different. And this is like so outside of that, and once you get to a certain point, you've completely forgotten it's not playing by the original rules. You don't know what it is. I mean, because it's, when Martin dies in the film, it's not a shot through the head. I don't think it's a shot through the head. I think they just put it, stab him through the heart. Forgive me, it's been about whatever the pre-screening was when I saw it.
Spear through that.
Yes, but it just,
you don't see it though.
You don't see it, so you can't. So you're not really. But it's not specific. It's not specific.
Yeah. I think we're kind of really delighted with that grey area. It actually makes me so happy that you're saying that, because I think that's kind of, we're pretty happy with that middle ground, like that kind of straddling that line, I think. Yeah.
It's also, it's not even almost a horror film, because it's, the zombies, other than a few scenes, are not there. It's purely a character study of, I have to get my daughter to safety, and how far will you go to do that, and what are you going to do? Which is, to me, is like, oh great, this is why it's an even better film, because it's not
emotional zombie thriller.
Yeah, no, let's talk about emotionally. Have you seen the film with, like, I'm sure you have, but like you've got to see it with a group of critics, and you get to the end, and I'm going to cry. I'm sorry. And they spray the perfume. And forgive me, I'm really just trying not to cry, but it just, as you watch, all you heard was sniffling, and it's like nobody shows emotions. And for like 3 days after or 4 days afterwards, all I'm getting is from my friends who were at the screening is, what was the, I got to talk to you about the end of that movie. I got to talk to you about that last scene. And that one moment, and to me, it's like that's the whole. That made the film for like everybody. It's like I really liked it, and then that happened, and that was a great film. Who came up with that idea? Or where did you go? But where did that come from? Because it's like you have this wonderful rush of humanity back in the. It's like I'm a monster, and it's like all of a sudden it's just like he goes and he dies. Sorry. He dies human. He doesn't die as and that to me was like it's like that was like everybody's like, that's it. That makes the movie. But it's just
thank you so much.
Yeah,
that's like the
it's
most
such
amazing.
The film.
That means so much to us. It's exactly what you said. I mean, I think we knew that if we're going to take an audience on this journey with this man who's trying to save his child, and we're going to be that invested, and we're going to love him and care about him and root for him and want him to survive, we just didn't feel right. We knew we couldn't end the film with him without us seeing a glimmer of who that man was come back to us again one more time. I think that's what we felt we needed at the end of the film. We're gonna give him that glimmer of humanity again, so we recognise that man that we've gone on this journey with, and he's not the monster.
And even if it was just a case of like anthropomorphizing it, like he might still just be a zombie that's just responding to the scent kind of thing. But it's just like, it's the way you kind of like show that it's like raise that question: is there part of him still in there? It's a bit like just the spinning top in the fall at the end of Inception kind of thing.
And I think there's also something really beautiful about this parent-child relationship and the lengths you go to sacrifice yourself for your loved ones, and how that love transcends death in this instance, quite literally.
Right.
So I think it's kind of just underpin the idea of that beautiful kind of father-daughter relationship, and the dual father-daughter relationship as well that's going on.
And in terms of specifically the perfume as well, I mean, we use that throughout the film as a way that, that he as a father is not the child's like go-to parent, and he's sort of become this single parent, and he's using that as a way to connect with his child and make her connect with him throughout the film. And I think we just also really liked the idea that at the end of the film, he also kind of becomes almost a surrogate, or at least a friend, if not a surrogate parental figure to Tooney as well. And the idea that it's her that does that for him is just kind of, we just really liked that the idea of that being this solidification of their bond and of what they've come to kind of develop with each other as well. So it was sort of twofold, I think.
Oh, threefold even, because then there's like a nod back to Kay as well, who dies very early on, but it's also like, I think we wanted to kind of still pay homage to her and what she kind of gave up to help them get there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of brings all that together. And then even when it comes to our virals as well, we call our zombies virals. One of the things that we really wanted to get out of the performers was less about like ravaging, like bloodthirsty beings, but like have them appear a bit more tortured, like people that are in pain, even though they're not coherent people, kind of thing. So that was one of the things. So it's kind of, I think that all kind of folds into one big kind of conclusion at the end.
How did you, brings you to another interesting question. How thought out is the world? How much do you know beyond, when you wrote it, how much of like what happens, since you get like glimpses in the map of Australia, and you get, the out things and the kit and some other stuff, but how it's so, which is atypical for most horror films, which is you've created a world. This functions. Everything is logical. Everything is reasonable. Nothing is outside of it. You don't even to the zombies will have to go into the dark. They have to they're burying their heads or going against the wall periodically. That's like, you guys really thought this. How much of that did you thought outside of just, well, this happens and this happens, and we'll do this and we'll do that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you really did. How did you really like? You have notes that fill out every the whole plague, the whole that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. There's a lot of detail that kind of went into informing our virals and stuff, and all that was kind of like we generated some of that through early development, but then also bringing on our other kind of creative heads of department. So Joe Ford was amazing for we'd have Yolanda wrote a fantastically detailed script as it was, and we did have ideas of how everything else was playing out. But then working with Joe just through pre-production, it was a case of she has a really beautiful habit of basically every little piece that she puts in has to have a story attached to it. So it's
this is our production designer. Yeah.
So with the yacht, for example, at the start, it's well, where did this yacht come from? Why is the yacht in the river? It's not traditional to actually have a yacht in a river in Australia. And so then it's we could answer those quite quickly, but it's we, in the course of doing all that, it kind of just expanded the universe and then made everything so much more tangible. And then there was always kind of ripple effects, so it might impact continuity or whatever, which we will kind of then able to roll back into the rest of it.
Yeah, but I guess the transformation, the sort of creature stuff, we did nut out a lot of how we thought that would function, and it was never our intention to explain.
Which I love.
Yeah, I just think I think films can really lose it if they try and go into the logic or the science of something that shouldn't really be explainable necessarily. So I mean, all we were sort of trying to do there was just trying to keep it this sort of the symptoms quite grounded and organic, as if they're sort of coming from the landscape. It was all about just trying to keep it quite muted and realistic as possible. And yeah, but that's awesome that that like the way that you speak about it makes it really clear that some of those cues that we planted in there are actually translating, which is great and really encouraging.
No,
for
it's
us.
just it's I love, it feels like you want to go back in and go like, I want to see more of this, I want to see where this was, or how did this go? But it's like there's no place. I wonder how, but it's like there's no point, there's no reason, you don't need it for the story, but you feel that it's fully operational.
Yeah, great.
Within the stuff. Got so many notes. It's funny. It's funny. Seriously, I've got basically 2 pages of notes for you guys, and I'm supposed to talk to Martin Freeman tomorrow, and I've got like 3 questions. It tells you the state of things.
Just ask him how he feels about mosquitoes.
Really? that was going to be one of the questions. Was what should I ask him? I'll do that. How did you get Martin? Because I mean, he's a big star. Forgive me, I don't know how, I know you haven't made a lot of films, or says it doesn't look like from IMDb.
No, totally, yeah.
And it just was like, so it's like, how did you get to him to do it? I mean, it's clear, I know you've got enough credits and stuff, you know what you're doing, it's not, to film you, I know what you're doing. But it's just like, how did you, it's not, it's like your first, because it is your first feature, yes?
Yeah.
So how do you get, like, hi, I'm Martin Freeman, I'm going to do this. How did you do that?
Oh, it was quite surreal for us as well. Like, it absolutely was. I mean, we'd spent a good year and a half or so developing the script, and we just had a really great producing team on board who had access to high-level talent. And at that point, it's like, I guess all you can really do is get the material to that person, and he was our top choice. Get that material to him and just see how you go. And we certainly, I guess we try not to get our hopes up too much, because for us even, I think it felt like a bit of a long shot. But thankfully, he really responded to the script. He really liked it. And he came on board, and that was like a banner day for for the cargo team, definitely.
That's good. No, it just was, he's a perfect choice. I mean, he did, going back to the end, it just was like, I can't imagine anybody doing that better.
Oh.
It just was like, that was, but sorry, I'm sorry, I shouldn't go on about that, but that
Oh, we love it.
That's
stroking our egos. We love it.
I find not that it's whatever, but I was thinking about, questions and stuff. You've got all these really strong female characters in it. And it's like, I love that. I mean, who's the girl who forgive me the names, she lives with the guy who, the bad guy, Lorraine.
Yeah.
And even she she's mousy to him, but you realize underneath she's at this strong thing. How, and it's so refreshing not to have this screaming girl. Oh! It's not, everybody is, it's not even, I can't even say that it's so beautifully done that it's not even that, you could go, well, they killed them all, anybody was like that, it's like, no, this is something more than that. I mean, how was that important? Was it? Was it intentional? Is it?
I mean, I guess as a female writer, it's important. It is important, and I think just subconsciously is just the way that it kind of came out. I mean, I think we were aware of the fact that, we're killing a lot of our female characters in this film, but it was really important to us that all of them had a really clear point of view in the story. They all had dimension. Particularly with Kay, the wife character, it was really important to us that she not come across as this nagging wife, that they were partners, that they were equals, that they were trying to solve this situation together, and that in her own way she's very heroic and courageous and self-sacrificing. And then I think, with Toomey and the strength that she shows and the compassion that she shows, her mother is sort of like this kind of matriarchal leader of her community. So yeah, we looked for opportunities to kind of to have those characters exist in this world. Absolutely. Yeah.
One of the things that is killing me about the film is, as much as I love Netflix and I love that it gets the film seen by everybody, I hate how do you feel? I mean, you shot this film that is, I've seen 57 films at Tribeca so far, because of all the pre-screenings, and they've sent me screeners and stuff. It is one of the most beautiful films that I've seen. I mean, the exception is one film which is set in Africa, which is a documentary on traveling down a river. It's one of the most beautiful films, and it's going to. Does it bother you that nobody's going to get to see like how really good this look? I mean, they will, but you're going to get people looking on phones, and their laptops, or does that bother you at all, or do you just want your film seen? Or, I mean, how do you feel about people watching films on their phones? Do you think about that when you're doing it? Did you think about that when you were making this? It's a lot of different little questions.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, Netflix came on when we finished shooting, so they picked it up based on a promo we did for maybe 18 months ago for AFM. So it was never the intention really to, there was no intention. It was kind of a traditional, financing and making of the film. But I think for this particular film, we all felt it was the right way to go because, one, the short film was a viral sensation, and I think the idea of this film being seen by so many people, I mean, they've got, 190 million subscribers, and it's all going out at the same time. But I think we felt that, I think they've been really fantastic partners, and very supportive, and, very creatively, supportive, and really. So we all felt that it was the right way to go. I mean, the theatrical was still kind of the beacon for everyone, but at the same time, we felt for this particular film, it was the right way to go.
Yeah, it was a very easy decision to make because it's kind of. I mean, we're both from the kind of Netflix binge culture. Like we will watch a lot of Netflix at home. So the idea that, and also then it was going to be branded with Netflix original, it's just kind of, and it's like, it makes it a tier above on Netflix alone. As I know that's something I'd watch myself at home.
Yeah, no, but I got Netflix just because of the stuff they did, the originals. So.
Yeah, but then we're spoiled because we're also back home, we get a theatrical run in Australia. So we get a 3-month theatrical window and then 3-month DVD, whereas everywhere else in the world it goes out on Netflix at the same time. So we do actually get the perks of the traditional theatrical run, and people have the chance to see it in cinemas.
And we get Tribeca, which is phenomenal. And I think we just also were super aware of, it's really hard to get people out to the cinema these days. Like it just really is. And as a filmmaker, absolutely, there's this, there's the allure of having your film seen on a big screen, but I think it's more important that it be seen. And for us, just knowing, the amount of people that would get to see it all over the world, that we could have done a traditional cinema release and only had it be actually launched theatrically in a couple of countries because that's what the market's like these days. And now it's
125 million.
Yeah, but 190 countries, right?
Yeah,
will get this film. Like that kind of exposure to your film is just you just can't get that any other way. So I think that was really exciting, and just also for us, the short film had done so well internationally, and had resonated with people around the world as well. So it just felt like the right way to go, I think, just to let those people be able to have access to it as well.
In terms of people watching on phones, it's kind of like how do people choose to watch is really, like, don't get me wrong, I've had flatmates before who are like multi-screeners, and so we'd be watching a movie on TV and he'll be playing a game on his phone, and personally it drives me nuts. I'm like, how are you actually paying attention to one or the other? But it's just a thing these days. It's just kind of like our attention spans have evolved and divided, kind of thing.
Well, I worked at a video store and I learned to watch movies while doing other stuff because we'd always have movies on.
Yeah.
And what freaked people out was I could watch, because the screen was up, that's why I keep pointing up. The screen, I would be watching a movie and it would be a complicated like film, and I would be going, and they're going, what's going on? It's like, and I'm telling them, but you've been doing all of this. It's like, yeah, but I can watch, I'm so used to it. That I could do. Yeah.
It was probably.
Okay. I have no idea beyond that. Since we'll just end it there. That was probably the best way.
Are you going to be on the carpet later on?
No, I will not.